as well. So now to the first presentation and what we call the heart of the Academy, the library, and we have Emma going to talk about it. Great, thanks very much, Jen. So my name is Emma Rothwell and I'm assistant librarian here. Prior to that, I was an education officer at Chester Beatty, and before that I was a teacher. So an event like today is like right up my wheelhouse. Very excited to have you all here today and get chatting to more of you later on as well. What I'm going to focus on today are the resources that we have openly available online. But just to emphasize again that the membership of the library is open to anyone. Anyone can register to be a reader. So we'd love to see you all back here in person to make use of our manuscript and archival sources as well. But like I said, going to just focus today on what is available to everybody that you might be able to bring into the classroom, no matter where you are based in the country. But just a quick overview of what the library has here. So our medieval Gaelic manuscript collection is probably what we're most famous for. We have the largest collection of Irish manuscripts in any repository in the world. We have just under 2,000 of them. And that's really probably our pride and joy here. The early members had a great interest. But we also have a great collection of English and Latin manuscript sources for Irish history. We would have personal papers of many of our members and other distinguished scholars who bequeath them to us. We are quite strong in natural history collections because, again, the early members were very interested in that area. And we have extensive antiquarian book and pamphlet collections. Charles Halliday left a collection of almost 40,000 pamphlets to the library, and they go back as far as the 16th century. There is an exhibition catalogue from previous exhibition about his collection just down on the table down there. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the kind of thing that's in his pamphlet collection, it's just fantastic, and you're more than welcome to come and consult it. But what I'd like to do now is kind of focus for a bit on our Gaelic manuscript collection and how you can use them. Didn't want to be hopping in and out of browsers, so I've done a few little kind of demo videos here just to show you how you'd go about accessing the information on our own website. So in the Royal Irish Academy website, you'd go to Library and Collections, and then I'm just going to show you how you would get to our little introductory articles about our most famous manuscripts to give you a flavour of what we have here. So just hit play on this. So you would go down to this Library Collections button and go in through that. And then you'll see there's a variety of other options, and we're going to go into manuscripts there. And once again, just one more step to our Irish language manuscripts. And our former colleagues in the library spent many years developing really well-researched, wonderful introductions. I think these essays about our most famous manuscripts are really just hit a lovely balance of being kind of concise and nice introductions, but also very, very scholarly and well-informed as well. So the links to all of the things that I mentioned here, by the way, are included in that information pack. So you don't need to kind of worry about how to get there. It's all in the info pack. That's how you would find out a little bit about the manuscripts. How do I see the manuscripts, you may be asking? Well, we have a partnership with Irish Script on Screen, which is run by the Dublin Institute of Advanced Studies, and about 100 of our manuscripts have been added to this repository. So what you see here is the Irish Script on Screen website, and you're on the Royal Irish Academy collection. And again, I've done a demo video here for you to have a look at. The quality of the digitisation is just phenomenal, I think you'll agree. So again, you scroll down, you see these lovely thumbnails of all the manuscripts. You can hover over them and get a little bit more information on the right-hand side. We then click into one of them and you come to this viewer screen. You can use the arrow to flick one by one through all the pages to see what's there. You can also use this scrolling function and the thumbnails down the bottom to jump more quickly to a page you're interested in. And then you can open up to your full screen, and again, just the quality is really, really incredible. Bearing in mind, this is going through Teams and also screen recording, so it's actually even better quality than what you're seeing. And you'll see now in a second, there's a great option for you to just go, sorry, I should say, we also have our catalogue information is added here. Some of it is well over my head, but many of you may have the expertise to understand what's written in the catalogue. And then you can go to your three dots, and when you go to download, there's a variety of resolutions you can choose. So if you wanted to use a page, a couple of pages, spot the former teacher, if you want to print them off in a massive size and laminate them so they can be used again and again, these are all free to be used to do that. And I think there's a huge opportunity there with young people in the class to get them using whiteboard markers on laminated pages and so on, and looking at some really interesting stuff. So that's one way that you can access our manuscripts. Oh, let me go back one. I'm going to talk about what is our most famous manuscript, which is the Cathaoc of Columcille. You may have heard of it before. This is a 6th century Psalter. It is written in Latin, but it is the earliest known example of Irish script or Irish calligraphy, and is massively important in terms of our understanding of the evolution of the tradition of insular manuscripts and decoration of manuscripts and so forth. And we're very, very proud to be the guardians of this manuscript. And incidentally, we put it out the last Friday of the month in the reading room for anyone who's in town on the last Friday of the month to come see it in real life. And it also goes out on Culture Night. So there are your opportunities to see it in the flesh. Actual flesh, of course, it's vellum. I was laughing at Siobhan talking about being old school because she's into paper. I can beat that. So the story of the Cathaoc is that Columcille copied it from Psalter in the possession of St. Finian. St. Finian said, that copy of that book belongs in my monastery. There was a dispute over this. The High King of Ireland said to every cow its calf and to every book its copy. I'm not sure how well that logic works, but anyway, supposedly the first copyright case in the world. Columcille took the book anyway. A huge battle ensued, and then he had to go to Iona as a penance and set up that wonderful foundation from which flourishes, I'm very nationalistic about this, but all of the wonderful insular art which many people try to claim as being something from England, but I think it all starts with our boy Columcille, so that's not a scholarly opinion or not the opinion of the Academy. So we have put this manuscript up on another interface that might be better for the classroom. ISOS was designed by academic researchers for academic researchers. The Zoom functionality is better on ISOS, and you can get the Cathaoc there as well. But we have this lovely little option here as well called turning the pages, and as you can see it looks a bit more like a book. So in a school setting I think this is a very nice way to explore the Cathaoc, flick through the pages. There's index view there as well so that you can also move more quickly to the pages that are relevant to you, and you can use this little arrow cursor at the top helps you to kind of move the book around. When you click on it again, then you go back into your page turning mode and you can keep flicking through your pages. A little home arrow there to center it again, and then finally there's a little bit of information about the history of the Cathaoc that you can read there as well. So that I think could be very useful, and I'm going to very quickly run through a few more resources that we have. This is not finished yet, but I am working on a classroom resource that will focus on the calligraphy and basic bookmaking features that you can spot in the Cathaoc. And I do think this is something that could be very easily done with children in a classroom, that you would explain some famous or important features of Irish calligraphy and then hand out pages from the Cathaoc and get them to work on spotting them themselves, recreating these, making their own decorated initials and so on. So there's some lovely examples there, of course, of the decorated initials, this lovely dotted outline, which appears that it carries on. You look at the Book of Kells or Lindisfarne or any of these, you'll see this dotting feature. And it goes into continental manuscripts as well. And then in terms of bookmaking, the problems of working with vellum, how a hole appears and so on. So I hope to be able to explain all of that in a nice resource. As I said, it's not available yet, but I would be happy to share it, what I've done so far, with anyone who might want to pilot it. And I'll have my own email address at the end of this presentation. There's also an online exhibition which is aimed at an adult audience. It's very text heavy, but it would give you some great research background. And I just wanted to feature these pictures that are in that online exhibition, which I think are very instructive. Flesh side and hair side of vellum, what an oak gall looks like when you're making the ink, the shrine that the Cathaoc was found in, which is currently in the National Museum, and also the state of it, as you can see, before it underwent the conservation work that happened in recent years. So I think they're kind of a nice part of the story of the Cathaoc as well. There's also an online story map, so that if you want to make it a bit more relevant to a local area, you can just click through this and it flies around this map of Ireland and tells you all of these places that are associated with the story of the Cathach. And you know, if you're working in one of these regions, it might be a nice kind of local connection. I am a librarian, so I rarely flog books for sale. The bookseller is my natural enemy, but our own publication here is excellent and I do have to recommend it. I've left a copy out on the table for you to look at, but Tim O'Neill, who's a great scribal artist, if anybody has come across him, has written this wonderful book, The Irish Art of Calligraphy. In the green part of that dragony thing, you can see the dots, so you can see how it all interplays. But he goes through how to do this traditional form of Irish calligraphy. Insular Majuscule is the name of the script. He also, towards the end of the book, looks at things like interlacing and gives lovely little kind of dotted diagram things that, again, I really think children would be able to kind of copy and do their own interlacing patterns and so on. So it's a really great resource as well. That's for sale just out in the hallway as well. I think it's €18. And now, moving on from those, I'm going to just very quickly run through some other interesting resources that we have that are not from our Gaelic manuscripts collection, but this collection of drawings by Béranger, you can see the cover of the lovely sketchbook that he was working in, and we have 3 of these sketchbooks. These drawings have been made available in the Digital Repository of Ireland, but they've also been made available on a website called Watercolour World. And I'm going to demo that here. The link I have included in our resource pack brings you straight to the Royal Irish Academy's collection. I'm not overly familiar with how many other collections are in there actually, but I'm sure you'd find lots of other exciting things in there too. But these are our drawings as they appear on this resource. So you can scroll down. As you hover over an image, the title comes up and you can kind of see the name of the antiquity that you're looking at. But what's great is this see results on map view, because then you can zoom in on Ireland here, and this orange dot will split now into lots of lovely little orange dots, and you can zoom in and click on one in your local area to go and have a closer look. So I've clicked on that one and it brings me to Goran Abbey in County Kilkenny. You can see it on that lovely black background. You can click again then and it goes in, it gives you a little bit more information about the title, date, the artist and so on. So another really wonderful resource to try and find some interesting watercolours. I love that little cow. I don't know how well you can see him from where you're sitting, but it's a wonderful one. So that's that collection of watercolours. I just spoke to one of your number who is a Lego model artist. So in some trepidation, I will show you just a few minutes or a little shot of this video. But one of our former colleagues who was very nifty with Lego made this excellent video about the library. I thought that it might be useful to gently introduce a research library to young people, because it talks about things like the strong room, like having to take photographs of important manuscripts so more people can see them. It talks about cataloguing. There's a very funny image of a librarian going a bit mad when the technology fails. But I'll just play a little bit of it for you to see here. Should get the idea there. Now, there we go. If you know the staff of the Academy, it's frightening how accurate that is. So she did a really wonderful job. Then a second last resource from me, which is the Ordnance Survey Archive. We recently celebrated 200 years since the first Ordnance Survey of the island of Ireland. The name books are in the National Archive, but pretty much everything else came to us in terms of the letters, the memoirs, so on, all of the research materials that the place name researchers gathered together. And in the memoir collection, the memoir project was not properly funded. It was really done on a voluntary basis. So these really only exist for the northern part of the island of Ireland. I think maybe 8 or 9 of the counties, but they included some small sketches in their memoirs as they were writing them as well. And this focus is a bit more on antiquities, folklore, and so on, departing a bit from the place name research. So this is what that website looks like. It's hosted by the Digital Repository of Ireland as well. And you'll see on that menu on the left, you can filter by your county and even down to your parish. So that is a very useful resource for finding local things. This is the kind of sketch. Sometimes it's very funny. There was one, it was like a butter urn or something, I can't remember. A researcher came in to see it in person before it had been digitized, and when I brought the piece of paper out, this thing was about 5 millimeters high. It was just 3 lines in a sort of like triangle shape. So some of the memoir drawings are not terribly exciting, but some of them are lovely. And might be very useful if you're working in an area that's relevant. And then the very last one, I'm just going to turn my volume up because these are quite quiet, but the Dugan Records Collection, it was a project that was undertaken at the end of the 20s into the 30s, where a man was sent around to collect Irish language dialects. So they're just very short recordings of small folk tales and stories, and little songs and things like that. And there's 17 counties represented in this collection. So all going well, we'll hear a very short one here from Kerry. So that was about stoking the fire, if you could catch it. We have the shellac records here in the collection, but they've all been digitized and put on that website as well, and again, for free and can be downloaded. So the very last thing to say is that our website's always there. I've put a big purple circle around the library bit in the Royal Irish Academy website. We have a blog, news items. We have lots more of those short introductory articles to our other archival collections as well, not just the Gaelic manuscripts. You could lose yourself for a day in there and have a very delightful time, in my biased opinion. And our library catalogue is also online and available to be searched. I'd be very happy if anyone wants any tips about how to use that and get the best out of it. Every library catalogue has its own quirks, so I can tell you about ours. But please do register as a reader. You just need photo ID and it's free to register. And then you can chat to us by email and we can find some nice things for you to work with. So that's that, and there are my contact details. So thank you very much for your attention. Yes. Oh, yeah.
The good bit of that story is about the back of the books that happened were in Sligo.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And then I think it was Colin Killen was banished to Inishmurray Island, and then they wouldn't take him in, and then he had to go from there to him.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So that's the background, and the Sligo connection's very strong there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Just wondering, is anyone in this book doing the school?
No, just the Magic School. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now you mentioned the library has natural history collections. What do they consist of?
Yeah, so we have recently done a lot of work on the Usher Bird Notes collection. So that would be one example for anyone who's not familiar with it. Usher wrote The Birds of Ireland in 1900, and it was kind of the first citizen science. I suppose he had many correspondents who were noting down diligently when they'd heard the first corncrake in their area and so on. And he brought all this together in a wonderful publication. So we would have Robert Prager was president and librarian here. We have his collections. Moffat, we also I think we have some of Barrington as well. There was a group of scholars active at that time anyway, and we would have, if not their actual full collection, we might have their correspondence to one of the collection within one of the other collections. So yeah, there's lots to dig out there. Yes.
Thank you for this. I was wondering, like you mentioned about the CAHA, that some of the resources are still not available, but we could write by email and then they could be.
Yeah, so essentially what I'm trying to put together is a cheat sheet. So if I say something like holes happen when you're preparing vellum and this is what happens and how they dealt with it, and then I will give you a list of all the pages where you'll find a hole, so that if you're on the spot with children and you want to quickly jump to the right page to show them the example, that's the cheat sheet that I'm working towards. Yeah. Yes.
There's Dugan recordings.
Yeah.
Are there transcripts available after that?
Yes, should have said that. So there's transcripts and translations all on that page where you actually look at the recording as well. Yeah. Yes.
Just something similar.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Now it's 17 counties represented in it, but there is definitely a pretty good geographical spread of where the kind of main dialects are spoken. Yeah. Off the top of my head, I don't know. I can do a bit of research when someone else is speaking, and then I will know. Okay, well, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you all in the reading room before long.